We came early, guys. We came early. We came early. What is good? What is good? It is your boy King GDB. I am here on behalf of the Not Your Average Joe's podcast, and I just want to touch on this real quick, man. I'm gonna start posting a bit more often. This was impromptu because obviously the verdict happened. We found out what happened with the Johnny Amber Heard situation. The verdict is live. He won in perpetuity. He actually just won 10.35 or $10.365 million. So my guy is out here pocketing the money. Amber Heard won two, so deduct that. She she got deducted 2 million she got from her verdict. So now all you have for the other side, Johnny Depp's side, is 8.365 million, because apparently in Virginia there is a cap on how much money you can get, or should I say the FU money you can get from the state. So the jury offered 5 million, judge brought that back to 3.5 million. But anyway, guys, is there anything to be learned from this case? Anything for us to take away from what we saw in the last 6 weeks occur on everybody's TV? I tell you, your mama, your grandson, and your uncle probably saw this whole thing shake down live in 4K at home, YouTube, all the channels were streaming it. I have never seen such a spectacle in my life, and I don't know how or why it was publicized. Maybe one of you guys can let me know in the comments why or how they came to the conclusion that they should publicize this court case, because apparently there's another case happening at the same time, which was a defamation case from the Kardashians. Black China defamed Rob Kardashian, claiming she was abused when in fact she was the abuser. So this is just another facet, another story that has just slipped under the radar of this defamation of character case. But anyway, guys, I just want to start off strong here and just let you in on the main quote, the main quote, the main takeaway from all this right here. Put that on a PowerPoint real quick. I'm lazy. What can I say? Put that on a PowerPoint real quick and let's just check it out, guys. It is better to live in a corner of the housetop than in a house shared with a quarrelsome wife. Proverbs 21, verse 19. Can I get an amen? Amen. It is better. I tell you now, you might as well live by yourself. Because honestly, the stuff that this man has probably gone through, Mr. Johnny Depp, it's only scratching the surface, in terms of what we've heard and what we've seen in the courtrooms. We can only assume it was much, much worse. And as you saw, Amber Heard sat there on the stand and put forward a brave face. She put forward her best face, and to be honest, it seemed so disingenuous. So disingenuous. But then here I will also say that if the situation was to occur where Johnny Depp was not to win this case, I tell you now, this is going to be hard to hear, guys. If there was a situation in which Johnny Depp was not to win the case and he got nothing, zero, the case was not won, Amber Heard won her side of the case, it would still be Johnny's fault. And I tell you now, this comes into our first point: accountability. Johnny Depp has to be accountable for the role he played in facilitating the behavior and allowing it to transpire in front of him without checking it early enough. Johnny Depp did not set the boundaries necessary for him to establish that he is the man in the household, she is the woman in the household. He did not establish the boundaries necessary. He tried, but as we know, with the modern women, Amber Heard is a strong, independent woman. She wanted to keep her career. She did not want to just sit at home and enjoy Johnny's money. She wanted to go out, work, get back out there, chase a career, and there is nothing wrong with that. And Johnny, again, he should have done his due diligence and realized that this person is not the person he wants to settle down with. This type of person is not the person who will bring a fruitful, long, prosperous relationship. Because just there off the bat, she would never be willing to leave her job for the relationship and or to satisfy Johnny's needs. And again, It's Johnny Depp. He could find a woman who is very comfortable being a housewife, a stay-at-home wife, not wanting to work, because there's a lot of women who want that, and that's also perfectly fine. There's a lot of women who want that, and Johnny could have easily found that. Instead, he went for something that is a challenge. He chased for Amber, and that is not the way. As soon as you sense resistance in someone not wanting to be or live a life the same way you want to live your life, if you the partner you want does not exhibit the traits that you would like in a partner long term, then you should leave, dip, dash. It is not for you. So accountability is key. Johnny needs to be accountable for the part he played in letting this transpire. Because again, our second point, you get what you tolerate. So Johnny Depp got exactly what he tolerated. He may not have tolerated all this nonsense if he made a strong bet in the beginning, a strong case in the beginning to say, look, this is what I'm willing to tolerate, this is what I'm not willing to tolerate. But he probably just went along with it. He let her win a few arguments. He let her get off, a few here and there, and once you let them take an inch, they will take a mile. This is both for men and women abusers. Once you let them take an inch, they will take a mile, especially emotional abusers, man. You don't want to do that. So stand your ground, know your values, and never betray them. As soon as your values are compromised, you what? The only power you have in this world right now. No violence, none of that. There's no need for that. You just leave. You excuse yourself from the situation because it is not being, that situation is no longer fruitful. It is no longer providing you any type of benefits. Okay, same again, if your partner does not adhere to the type of, that is not the type of partner you would want, or does sees their life turning out as a different way than what you would like to see for your partner, just find someone with a similar vision, for what you have. Find someone with a vision that is shared. Find someone who sees themselves in your vision of a future, you know what I mean, as a guy. Don't find someone who wants to be quarrelsome, to do their own thing, to be independent. Because again, there is no space for independence in a relationship. Obviously, there's a space for autonomy and the capability of independence, just in case something horrible happened. To the case, like, one person ends up passing away and there's a child to be taken care of. Obviously, in that case, you need to be independent. But in the confines of a relationship, you need to be codependent, not in a bad way, but in the way that you know that you need the other person to make the most out of this thing called life. You need the other person to really make life what it can be. And the fact that Johnny Depp allowed himself to be taken away by this charlatan, taken away to the point where he tolerated the abuse for so long, it's just simply unacceptable. You cannot allow that in 2022. Okay, you cannot allow that. Now, third point, he needed to be firm as a man, be firm in his power as a man. And his only power, as I stated earlier, was the power to excuse himself from the situation. That is his only power, and that is his greatest power. He is Johnny C. Depp. He can leave and find someone better at any moment, someone willing to do and abide by the future he has seen for himself, someone willing to just come in and fit in, be the housewife he has envisioned for himself, as we've seen through the case. That was one of his many points of contention. He wanted Amber Heard to just be a housewife, stop the work, pursue a more leisurely passion, her artwork and whatnot, and just forget about the acting career, because he makes enough for the both of them. He doesn't need her working too. Makes no sense. Again, he is in tune with that provider nature that most men are in tune with. As we know, men are capable of dating down, women prefer to date across and up. So for him, he was naturally inclined to want to, alleviate any stresses that, Amber would have had from work. But Amber, again, not having the most stable relationship as a child, looking at her father and mother, she probably wanted to again be independent in a sense where she didn't really depend on Johnny too much. She wanted to have her own money, just in case said situation went down. And again, it's always the toxic ones, man, who are just ready. It's always the toxic ones who are just always screaming, "I'm independent, I'm strong and independent, I'm strong and independent." Be strong and independent. And to quote the late great Kevin Samuels, buy a dog and die alone. Because that's all you need. You don't need a man. You don't need a man. It's crazy. But now, just moving on to the next point. If you're famous in Hollywood, you're a prolific actor, just get some cameras in your house. I beg, get some cameras in your house. That is key. You cannot live in Hollywood. You cannot live in penthouses and all this and just allow this. Like, now this should be a lesson to everyone who has some type of clout, some type of fame. Just get some cameras in your house and set yourself right so everything can be recorded. The violence can be recorded. If someone is enacting violence on you, it's instant. You don't even have to think about anything. Let them know that there is cameras in the house so they don't act up. Don't let them know where the recording equipment is set up and all that stuff so they can get a copy. Don't do that, but make sure they understand that everything that happens in this house is captured, and they will be liable if anything goes wrong or if they start to act up. And that's key. Johnny, I don't know why he wouldn't have that. He has the security. Just get the cameras in there and let them see for themselves. Let people see for themselves what goes on. If you're truly a person of character and a person of worth who would not commit such heinous acts, you have no problem putting yourself on camera in your own house for yourself to review and everyone else to review in the case that something like this happens, or just in the case of safety, robbery, whatnot. You have to be prepared. You have to be prepared. If common people can have cameras in the house, you, Johnny Depp, as a celebrity, you should have had cameras in your house set up, standing. So all this could have been recorded. Everybody can know what is happening 365. You had a whole floor to yourself with penthouses. You can make a security office somewhere there for where your security stays. They watch the cameras, they make sure everything's sweet, everything's good. But no, that didn't happen. And now we have ourselves a whole kerfuffle in this case, which could have easily been avoided with supreme evidence just sitting there chilling. But no. And again, the next point, you have to be congruent. Okay? You have to be congruent. If you know in your heart that this person is taking advantage, is taking the piss, as we say here in the UK, is taking a piss, you have to leave that situation. You have to question that situation and think, look, is this going to get better? And again, how likely is it for this situation to get better? If it's more likely than not to get better, you can probably stick it out. But if it's highly unlikely than it is, then you have to leave. You have to dip. Because again, only power you have is the power to leave and excuse yourself from the situation before anything crazy happens. And that's the key, before anything crazy happens. So you have to be very, very careful. And even the begging and the crying you have to be as a dude. And again, it's harder for women. I would attest. It would be harder for women because you guys are just more emotionally inclined. You're more emotionally inclined. You're more emotionally aware, and you're more likely to forgive things like that in terms of abuse and whatnot. But for guys, you have to be a rock and just let that, oh, please take me back, I need you, da, 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 let that wash over you and just leave. Do not think twice about it. Do not try to, if you know it's failing and you know the likelihood of the person changing and becoming better is close to zero. Even if it's below 20%, that is still more. If it's as long as it's below 50%, you gotta dip. You gotta dip. If there's a more likely chance than not that she's willing to change, you stay. If not, you dip. You dip. You have to be willing to see if this person has ever exercised any type of major change in their life. Is there a point in the life where this person has completely changed themselves to better themselves? If not, the likelihood of them changing now is a dream. You're selling yourself a false bill of goods. You have to dip. You have to dip. And last but not least, Johnny Depp did not vet this prospect. He did not take the time to vet Amber Heard. He did not take the time to see if this is something he is willing to tolerate long term. Like the speed at which these people move in Hollywood, man. The speed, it is crazy. And the fact that they got married in 2015 and 2016, they're already divorced. Bro, that's like a solid year because you know they must have been on the rocks before that. You know they must have been on the rocks before that. And the fact that Johnny was gonna leave and she decided to leave before him and then get the TRO set up and call TMZ, let them know about, oh, there's a bruise on the right side of my face, take a picture of it. the disingenuousness of that situation. I don't even know if that is the word disingenuousness, but we're using it today. Disingenuine for her to do that. It is crazy. And for her to sit up there on the stand and just lie. These are things you should have seen in the beginning, the early stages of the relationship. You know, there's certain tells you can see when someone is lying about every little thing here and there. It's just, bro, it's wild that it got to this point. But again, if you had the video evidence, as I said earlier, it wouldn't have gotten to this point because everything's recorded. There's no way someone can fake anything. And if you know that someone blocks the cameras, you know something's going on. You know something's going on. If you would never do that in your own house, then you know something's going on. Your partner's scheming. And again, it is just crazy to think. But anyway, those are the major points I wanted to cover off. But now let's just take a look at this statement that Amber Heard's team released. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. We're gonna get this in big old writing here. Gonna get this in big old writing. This is wild. Let's just read this real quick and just break it down. Holy. The disappointment I feel today is beyond words. I'm heartbroken that the mountain of evidence still was not enough to stand up to the disproportionate power, influence, and sway of my ex husband. Again, move on, Amber. It's over. Take the L, go lick your wounds. There's no need to come back for round two because I tell you now, this is already defamation in the making. Just quit while you're ahead, man. Learn your lesson. You don't want to pay another 10 mil. It's nothing light. I'm telling you now, it's nothing light. Anyway, this is crazy. Moving on. I'm even more disappointed with what this verdict means for other women. Don't bring other people into it. This was your situation. You lied on the stand. It's not legitimate. Don't do this to other people. Don't try and get a cohort of women around you to try and blanket yourself because we know women have a herd mentality. If I lose, we all lose. That's what they're thinking in this case. That's what she was thinking in this case, and that is completely false. No, no. Amber Heard is a solitary person, and she lost by herself. This case, she lost it. Other women who are genuinely in abusive relationships, when they leave, they will get their justice. This here is you just playing up to the cameras. When you left, when the verdict was rendered, you were not traumatized. You left, you walked out, your head down, you felt nothing, no emotion, there was no tears, no crying, no nothing. Everything for all those tears, you should understand. If you only if you are genuine in those fake tears or non-existent tears you shed on the stand, you would have broken down in that situation where you found out that you have lost the case. You would have had some type of emotional response, but you didn't. You stayed firm. This is why the female doctor, I forget her name, she said Amber Heard was high functioning because she is high functioning. She could not feel the pressure. She could not allow herself to cry even when the verdict was rendered. If you are a abuse survivor, if a verdict is rendered in that case where you lost, she should be teary. She should be emotional, but she wasn't. Again, we're not here to tell people how to react, but again, it looked a bit sus. It looked a bit sus. That's all we're gonna say here. But anyway, it sets back the clock to a time when a woman who spoke up and spoke out could be publicly shamed and humiliated. Cap. It set back the idea that violence against women is to be taken seriously. Wow. That's mad. That's mad. You are the only one who has been recorded actively accepting and acknowledging that you are violent. You were the only person recorded saying that you have been violent. Johnny Depp was not recorded saying he's been violent. The only thing we really had was texts and the cabinet videos. He broke some cutlery and cabinets. He's abusive. Crazy. I believe Johnny's attorney succeeded in getting the jury to overlook the key issues of freedom of speech and ignore evidence that was so conclusive that we won in the UK. You didn't win in the UK. That was not you. You won nothing. That was the Sun won in the UK, not you. You didn't win. The Sun won in the UK. And this whole thing of the key issue of freedom of speech, you had your freedom of speech. The jury heard you out and they deemed your speech was lies. And they held you accountable to those lies. And you got to fork over that cash. Cold, hard cash. You got to fork it over. It's all over. I'm sad I lost this case, but I am sadder still that I seem to have lost a right I thought I had as an American to speak freely and openly. What? You spoke freely and openly, but you lied. You lied. What do you expect for your lies? Like this is exactly what you get, man. I tell you now, this is why you have to be congruent, be truthful in everything you do, everything you say. Because as soon as this happens, you can't be backpedaling, bro. You can't be backpedaling. This does not look good. Amber, just take the L and leave it. If she left it and moved on with her career, she would have had a better chance in the future than trying to bring this all back. If you notice, Johnny's statement did not refer to Amber at all. He did not mention Amber. He did not want to bring Amber in. All he did was just state that he's looking forward to moving on and his career has been restored. Him and his family want to just move forward. In Amber's case, she wants to stay, marinate, dwell. Not the key. Not the key. Unacceptable. But now we're just gonna watch a few videos here, especially from Elaine here, Amber's attorney, and just hear what she had to say in response to the whole situation and how the backlash has, affected Amber. Let's just hear a couple words from her. Oh, I gotta remove this, set it back. Give me 2 seconds. Gotta allow for the audio to be played so you guys can hear it. Here we go. There we go. Share system audio. And bam. All right.
Well, knowing the case and knowing.
Here we go. Is the volume up? There we go. Let's hear what she has to say.
You certainly do. Frankly, it favors defendants like Amber Heard. Are you stunned that the jury essentially rejected her story?
Well, really what happened here is it's a tale of two trials. Johnny Depp brought a suit in the UK for the same case, and the burden of proof was easier for him there. The son had to actually prove that it was true, and the court found there, and we weren't allowed to tell the jury this, but the court found that Mr. Depp had committed at least 12 acts of domestic violence, including sexual violence, against Amber.
Holy, I don't know about the UK, man, but them mans, man, I don't know what the judge was doing in the UK, man, because clearly they were faltering. That evidence of sexual violence was just hearsay. It was just her word. Literally, there was nothing, there was no files, no nothing. There was literally no medical records to suggest that anything of that nature happened. And for them to sit here and attest to the fact that he committed 12 counts when there was no legitimate evidence to the fact is ridiculous.
So what did Depp's team learn from this? Demonize Amber and suppress the evidence. We had an enormous amount of.
She's a demon, man. She the way she's been moving, man. You saw her on the stand acting up, playing up for the camera, man. Playing up for the camera. Johnny was himself on the stand. Charming, funny. He talked when he needed to talk. He was reserved when he needed to be reserved. He was emotional when he was just being himself. Amber was trying to play an act. Every time she was cut off by Camille Vasquez, every time she was cut off, immediately after she was cut off and she resumed, she'd get back into character like that, not like she didn't even skip a beat, man. She is
of evidence that was suppressed.
She deserves an Oscar, man.
That was in the
but
UK
not really,
case.
because the jury saw through it.
When it came in, Amber won, Mr. Depp lost.
But here's the thing: you were able to get some.
Amber did not win in the UK. The Son won in the UK. So let's just keep it. That was not Amber's case to win. That was the Son's case to win. And credit to the Son and whatever they managed to do. But in Virginia, good old land of freedom, America, Amber felt she felt the weight. And the fact that this one was televised and the other one wasn't, Lee, Amber's really suffering now. I tell you now, it's all over.
Evidence that you say demonstrated abuse. You certainly had her testimony. There were pictures, documents, all kinds of evidence. But in point of fact, the jury rejected it.
Yeah.
You argued in your closing arguments that if they found even one instance of abuse.
I tell you now, Elaine, you could see her throughout the trial, man. Even she wasn't believing what she was selling, the false bill of goods she was trying to sell. It's just wild to me that she just sat there and tried to sell those false bill of goods to the people. She wasn't even believing what she was saying. You saw in her face when Camille Vasquez was giving the closing argument. You can see in her face that she really felt some type of emotion about this. You know she's not going to sleep well at the end of the day, bro. It is crazy to me to think that she's standing here trying to defend this. Like, you can see, anyway, she'll see when she goes on the Twitters and the internets on what is actually happening. Even her children probably bring her to the fact that, Mom, you'll be playing games here. You fell all the way off. That's unacceptable.
And it did not even have to be physical abuse, that they would have to find for Amber Heard, and they didn't.
Holy, man.
And the other part to bear in mind here is nothing changed. The op-ed didn't even mention Mr. Depp by name. And so
That's not the point.
What basically they did here is demonize her.
It is not the point. She literally admitted on her speech, which we read right here, she literally admitted the amount of evidence was still not enough to stand up to the disproportionate power, influence, and sway of my ex-husband. Come on now.
And they
Let's not
did.
do
They
this.
were able to suppress the medical records, which were very, very significant because they
Suppress the medical records. Come on
showed
now.
a pattern going all the way back to 2012 of Amber reporting this to her therapist, for example. We had significant
Her therapist, but where is the actual physical medical saying bruise here, seeing this, swelling here, seeing this? There's none of that,
amount
man.
of texts,
It's just hearsay.
including from Mr. Depp's assistants.
For all we know, again, high functioning individual, for all we know, she was planning on some Hannibal shit from the beginning to take that Johnny for what he's worth.
Saying, when I told him he kicked you, he cried. He is so sorry. That didn't come in.
Is there any other way to interpret this verdict, though, that this jury, for whatever reason, and I hear you on some of the evidence that they didn't hear, listening to Amber Heard, did not believe a single word?
And that's because she was demonized here. A number of things were
No.
allowed in this court
No.
that should not.
She was not congruent. Yes, a number of things were allowed in this court that should not. And the fact that they allowed multiple pictures that are essentially the same picture for different events to be entered into evidence is just crazy to me. Crazy to me. So yes, Elaine, you are right, but get it together, woman. Get it together.
Have been allowed, and it caused the jury to be confused. We weren't allowed to tell them about the UK judgment, so the damages is completely skewed. There are no damages. It stopped at November 2, 2020, which is when the judgment came down in the UK.
Let me ask you about social media in this case.
Oh Lord, Lee.
Unlike
You don't want
any
it. You don't want
celebrity
it.
case, certainly I've ever covered or ever seen, social media was a part of this. And it was
I tell you now, when you see the memes, you see the Twitter threads, it is just non-stop. It is unforgiving. I tell you now, I feel bad for Amber. I don't wish bad upon anyone, man. I hope she gets well, she gets better, she gets the help she deserves. Maybe it takes a few years to heal, and just don't repeat this behavior, man. But I know it's Amber, and I know whatever relationship she gets in, the person who she's gonna get with, and she might, if she displays any of these tendencies, holy, it is over. And if another person claims that he was abused or she was abused by Amber, I'm telling you now, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. Her career is in the gutter, because right now she can recover. She can lean on this UK trial and say, I won the UK trial, when you didn't win the UK trial. The Sun won the UK trial. You can lean on that all you want. Lean on that all you want and just ride that. And maybe you might have a fruitful career on straight to DVD movies. You might have something. But for you to sit, you might get a book deal, a very lucrative book deal, to write your side of the story completely with all the lies and all that stuff. You might get your chance. Again, it's just crazy for me to think that it's wild.
incredibly lopsided and vitriolic against Amber Heard. Do you think that had an effect on the case?
Absolutely.
You think jurors were aware of it? They weren't supposed to be. They're admonished every single day. Don't look at it. Do you think they did see it?
How can you not? They went home
That's
every
facts.
night. They have
That's
families. The families are on social media. We had a 10-day break in the middle because of the judicial conference. There's no way they couldn't have been
That is
influenced by
facts.
it. And it was horrible. It really, really was lopsided. And I appreciate your saying that. It's like the Roman Colosseum, you know.
It is, to be honest, again, it's like this is human nature. The way she says it's like the Roman Colosseum. This is human nature. There are winners and there are losers. And us as humans, we like to we like to see the winners and we like to see the losers. It's an unfortunate fact of reality. All these participation trophies coming out right now, it's all cap. Humans, it's in our nature to want to be the best, to want to win, and to also acknowledge that some people, they got it. For you to win, someone has to lose. There can't be winners and no losers. It's just not the way of life.
How they viewed this whole case. I was against cameras in the courtroom, and I went on record with that and had argued against.
Yeah, because if there were no cameras in the courtrooms, this case would have been far, far more easier for them to try and paint a certain way, for them to try and win. Far more easier, and there would never be this level of spectacle to this case if there was no cameras in the courthouse. But here we are now.
Against it because of the sensitive nature
hindsight.
of this. But it made it a zoo.
Does your client want to appeal?
Oh, absolutely. And she has some excellent grounds for it. We even had tried to get the UK judgment in to dismiss his case because he already had his shot. And that's one of the issues, but also a number of the evidentiary issues. There was so much evidence that did not come in.
Is she able to pay a $10.4 million judgment?
Oh, no, absolutely not.
She's broke. Elaine acknowledges she is broke. You ain't gonna pay it. Yo, there is something called a financial scheme. We can set you up, Amber. You can pay in installments. That have to be everything. Every time you get a role, you can pay 15% of your take to Johnny, and you can keep it like that. You can pay him some alimony, as they say.
Finally, in closing arguments, Amber's team argued that this would send a message, that it would send a message that no matter what you do as an abuse victim, you all.
No. Amber lost. Take the L as an individual and lose. Don't try and, again, women with this herd mentality thing. If I lose, we all lose. No, you lost. This was a fair trial, fair jury. You all agreed for it to be televised. It was fair in all aspects. And here we are. This is what we have, the result. Just things don't add up with Amber Heard's story, and Elaine has to know this. So for her to stand here and try and make this claim 10 toes down and say, you know what, I always stood for Amber. Come on. Even you are probably like, bruh, this is looking bad. You are not if you just shed 2 tears, we might have a best stance here. But she couldn't even do that. She was just hysterical. It's crazy.
Always have to do more. You need to be perfect in order for people to believe you. If she did not get a favorable verdict, what message do you think this sends?
It's a horrible message. It's, as I said, a setback. It's a significant setback because that's exactly what it means.
It's not a setback because you guys they just want this believe all women thing to be true. It's logically, we know it's not true, but for them to try and push it this hard, it's just wild to me. It's crazy to me.
Out your phone and you video your spouse or your significant other beating you, effectively, you won't be believed.
Elaine Charlson, Bretta Hoff, thank you very much for your time this morning. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Guys, we're just going to leave that there, guys. Honestly, just a short video, just to, quickly gloss over a few things I want to talk about in relation to this case. This has been a wild ride. Johnny Depp, the key takeaway for you, my friend, is always make sure you do your due diligence in the partners you're taking upon yourself. Make sure that they have a vision for the future, for their future, which is in line with your vision for what you would want your partner to be. Essentially, you want a housewife. Look for women who want to be a housewife. Don't look for the strong and independent like Amber Heard, who are a challenge. Don't do that, because it's never gonna end well. Never gonna end well. You knew she wanted to keep acting, yet you still pursued it. You knew had tendencies, yet you thought marriage would solve it. Again, it's like getting deeper. It's like digging the hole, getting deeper, and trying to climb out at the same time. Like, it makes no sense. Johnny Depp, I wish you the best. Amber Heard, I pray you let this go and you just go your way. Because if you let this go, you might still have a career at the end of it. But if you appeal and you lose the appeal, the optics on that are just criminal. You will never recover. People will just be like, wow, she really did. She tried to go 10 toes down and stand on what she believes, her truth. Again, that shouldn't be a thing. It is the truth, not your truth, her truth, my truth, the truth. That's the whole point of the legal process, to come to the conclusion of where the truth lies between this person and that person, the plaintiff and the defendant. In this case, the truth was found to be closer to Johnny's side than to yours, Amber. Take the L and leave it. Lean on the Sun winning their case in the UK and say, you know what, I don't need to go, I don't need to do this again. The Sun, that side, it proved that I won, and leave it like that. Here, Johnny won. It is what it is. To her, it's 1-1. Leave it there. You can at least walk away with your head held high and try and make something of your career, and just hope you don't make the same mistakes in the future, because I guarantee you, Amber, if she makes the same mistake again, her career is finished. If another person that she gets with in the future and they break up and comes out with, she abused me, then Johnny Depp is vindicted. He is now seen as the poster boy for male domestic violence survivors. I tell you now, it is over. We're gonna leave that there, guys. It was a nice little stream. Want to leave you with that, guys. And remember, it is better to live in the corner of the roof than with a quarrelsome wife. Proverbs 21, verse 19. Remember that. I'll catch you guys in a bit. Peace.